So my position on the drug war is that we should end it. We shouldn't be having a drug war in the United States. Our government should be limited to protecting and defending the Constitution, which, by the way, the Constitution was designed to limit government powers. That's not rights that the government has. That's rights that we have. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights specifically outlines the limits that we have on government power. And in the times that we're in now, where you have this continuing, increase in government power and authoritarianism, the last thing we need is a drug war. The last thing we need is more bureaucrats and more politicians telling people what substances to put in their bodies. I'm against many drugs, particularly things like methamphetamines and heroin, drugs that have had horrible, horrible effects on crime, on communities, all kinds of, terrible, terrible effects. I don't want anything to do with those drugs. I don't want them on my property. I don't want them near me. But it's not my right to use violence on somebody else if they want to do drugs in their own property, or they want to interact with somebody, or they want to sell drugs or buy drugs. That's not a legitimate role of government. That's not a legitimate role of our, law enforcement. It puts law enforcement in danger. It is very expensive. It costs up to $70,000 a year, by the way, to keep somebody in prison. And there are people in prison right now for marijuana crimes. And 70% or so of the population doesn't even believe that should be a crime. And there's many, many states where it is not a crime. And we've had this throughout history, things that were illegal and then are not illegal. Alcohol is another example. Alcohol prohibition was a dismal failure. It created more crime. And that's exactly what we're seeing with the drug prohibition now. It creates more crime and more problems, and it's a distraction. Drug addiction should be dealt with as a health matter between the addicted people and those who want to help them, their doctors and medical providers. It's really not a place for government to be involved in at all. It's an encroachment on human rights. It's expensive. It doesn't make sense, and it should end. We shouldn't have any involvement in drug war. Government doesn't have any business telling people what to put in their bodies at all. Period.